The Exorcist is a 1973 American supernatural horror film directed by William Friedkin and based on the 1971 novel of the same name by William Peter Blatty. The film stars Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Linda Blair, and Jason Miller. The story revolves around the demonic possession of a 12-year-old girl, Regan McNeil, and her mother's desperate attempts to win back her daughter through an exorcism conducted by two priests. The film opens with Father Marin, Sydow, at an archaeological dig in Iraq, where he unearthed a small statue of Pazuzu, an ancient demonic figure. Meanwhile, in Georgetown, actress Chris McNeil, Burston, begins noticing strange behavior from her daughter, Regan Blair. Initially, she attributes it to psychological issues, but as Regan's behavior becomes increasingly violent and inexplicable, Chris seeks help from Father Karras Miller, a Jesuit priest struggling with his own faith. Karras is initially skeptical but becomes convinced that Regan is possessed. He turns to Father Marin, experienced in exorcism, to perform the ritual. The climactic exorcism scene is a battle of wills and faith between the priests and the demon, with intense, frightening moments that have become iconic in horror cinema. The film's impact was profound, not just for its horrifying content, but also for its exploration of faith, innocence lost, and the clash between good and evil. The Exorcist is often cited as one of the greatest horror films of all time, known for its powerful performances, shocking imagery, and its ability to evoke deep psychological terror. Directed by Stanley Kubrick and based on Stephen King's 1977 novel, The Shining stars Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, Shelley Duvall as Wendy Torrance, and Danny Lloyd as Danny Torrance. Jack, a writer and recovering alcoholic, takes a job as the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel in the Colorado Rockies. He brings his wife, Wendy, and son, Danny, who has psychic abilities called The Shining, which allow him to see the hotel's horrifying past. As winter sets in and the hotel becomes snowbound, Jack's sanity begins to unravel due to the influence of the supernatural forces that inhabit the hotel. Danny experiences terrifying visions and is warned by the hotel's chef, Dick Halloran, Scatman Crothers, who also has the shining about the dangers of the hotel. Jack's descent into madness leads him to violently turn on his family. The tension escalates as Jack becomes increasingly unhinged, culminating in the iconic scene where he breaks through a door with an axe, shouting, "Here's Johnny!" Wendy and Danny manage to escape into a hedge maze, where Danny outsmarts his father, leading to Jack's freezing demise. The Shining is renowned for its atmospheric tension, unsettling score, and Nicholson's chilling performance, cementing its status as a classic in the horror genre. Directed by John Carpenter, Halloween is a seminal slasher film starring Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode and Donald Pleasence as Dr. Sam Loomis. The story begins in 1963 when 6-year-old Michael Myers murders his teenage sister on Halloween night. 15 years later, Michael escapes from a mental institution and returns to his hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, to wreak havoc once more. Dr. Loomis, Michael's psychiatrist, tries to warn the authorities, but Michael's return is marked by a series of brutal killings. Laurie Strode becomes Michael's primary target, and the film builds suspense as Michael stalks her and her friends. The climax features a tense showdown between Laurie and Michael, with Dr. Loomis arriving just in time to shoot Michael, who falls from a balcony but mysteriously vanishes. Halloween is celebrated for its minimalist approach, eerie score composed by Carpenter, and its influence on the slasher genre. The film's portrayal of the relentless, faceless killer has left a lasting legacy in horror cinema. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock and based on Robert Bloch's novel, Psycho stars Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates and Janet Leigh as Marion Crane. Marion, a secretary, embezzles $40,000 from her employer and flees, eventually stopping at the remote Bates Motel. There she meets the shy but charming proprietor Norman, who lives with his domineering mother in a house on the hill. Marion decides to return the stolen money, but before she can, she is brutally murdered in the infamous shower scene. Her disappearance prompts her sister Lila, Vera Miles, and boyfriend Sam, John Gavin, to investigate. They uncover the shocking truth that Norman's mother is long dead, and Norman himself has been impersonating her, driven by a split personality. The film's final twist reveals Norman's fractured psyche and the chilling influence of his mother's persona. Psycho is hailed for its innovative storytelling, suspenseful direction, and its profound impact on the horror genre. Hitchcock's masterful use of tension and the film's iconic scenes have solidified its place as a classic. Directed by Tobe Hooper, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a landmark in horror cinema. The film follows a group of friends who fall victim to a family of cannibals in rural Texas. The story begins with Sally, Marilyn Burns, her brother Franklin, Paul A. Partain, and their friends embarking on a trip to check on their grandfather's grave, which has been reportedly vandalized. Along the way, they pick up a hitchhiker who behaves erratically, cutting himself and attacking Franklin. They quickly get rid of him but soon run out of gas and decide to explore an old farmhouse. This leads them to the home of Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen, a chainsaw-wielding maniac who wears a mask made of human skin. One by one, the friends are captured, killed, and dismembered by Leatherface and his grotesque family. The film's gritty, documentary-style presentation and relentless pace create a sense of realism and intense terror. Sally's desperate escape and harrowing ordeal culminate in a chaotic, nerve-wracking finale. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is revered for its raw, visceral horror and its influence on the slasher genre, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of horror films.
Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.